All right. Hello everyone, and we'll do another Azul video. Um, in my last video, I played some games where I restricted myself to only being able to, or rather, not being allowed to complete a column. Um, and in this video, I'm going to do something similar, but um, I have created a list of random limitations, or rather, I've created a list of limitations, and at the beginning of each game, I will randomly select one. Um, so I basically have all of the columns, so this just means I have to try to build a specific column, cannot complete a column, all of the color bonuses, and then must take from a factory if possible, which basically means I would never be taking the first player tile, um, unless my opponent also always took from factories. Uh, so let's randomize the first one. Okay, well, I guess I'm taking the top one, which is column 3. So in this game, we will build column 3. Not, arguably the best outcome in terms of trying to win the game. But of course, it depends on the draw as to how well or how easy it might be to do that. So, yeah, so I would say this is not a great column 3 draw, but let's start uh, with some whites on row 4. Okay. I'm debating here between the white from the center versus taking 2 blacks. Gives my opponent whites. I pick up the last white, they pick up 2 blacks anyway. Okay, let's the white. They take 2 blue. Yeah, so I'm just gonna keep going after our common objective, um, which in this case, the most prevalent one is the black tiles. And then here I can fall into a trap. So if I were to take 2 white here, they could take 1 black, and then I would only have 1 play left. So we will take the 2 yellow. Is the red better at all? That gives them just row 3 yellow. So yeah, let's take 2 yellow. I think I'll take the red here. Okay. So going into this next round, obviously, looking at prioritizing black tiles. um, since that is one of the main colors we share. And the draw is pretty good for me to defend. We'll just do this. They take a white, which is interesting. Grouping the yellows is not bad for me. I think I feel okay just taking a black here. Things can get a little crazy. If they like try to force my hand on white. But the reason I liked that play is their optimal row 2 is yellow, and so yeah, now they've overpaid for it. Okay, and then for me, so the rest of the round, I'm basically just trying to pick up row 2 blue and row 3 blue. It's really hard for them to stop me. I'm going to start with the row 2 blue that doesn't put a white in the center. And yeah, now I can take white and put them in a pretty tricky spot. Sometimes these situations backfire on me, where like I create this group of 4 and my opponent just takes it, and then you never end up finishing row 3 blue for the rest of the game. But obviously if they take this, they'll be at 0 points. My scoring isn't going to be great, but I'll probably have like a 7 or 8 nothing lead. And there's still 11 blues, and I've already knocked out row 2. So not too worried about it. Yeah, sometimes I create those big groups for myself, and I assume my opponent won't take them. And then they do. Yeah, we're up 10 to nothing. And we get some good luck. So my opponent is like really eating reds, specifically 2 red. And we have an opportunity to create a group of 4. So we'll take that. And then we'll pick up one of these 2 row 2 whites for row 2, since we kind of counted ourselves out of red. Okay, and let's create the group of 2 blues. Make this buffer for them. And I think this play might be best. This. Yeah, I think they'll still be at 0. So could take the reds there, but I like the thought of just being up something to 0. Oh, they didn't play the reds on 5 either. That's okay. Let's finish. 3 blue before we get ourselves in trouble, because there's left. have an outside shot at full color white. I think it's very unlikely, but could happen. I don't think my opponent is necessarily out of the game despite the 15-0 lead. Like, they're gonna have pretty good scoring this round, next round. Okay, I'm gonna create this group of 3 white for myself, taking 1 yellow, and I keep both my options open for row 3 blue. Yeah, just gotta take it. Yeah, they're gonna score a bunch, so they'll get 1 red, 1 of row 3 yellow, 3 black. That is an interesting decision. Now they have to overpay for row 1. I'll have a bit of a trickier round 5 potentially. But just looking at the color distribution, like yellows is the most popular thing, and I can play them on row 3 and row 4. Okay, so can I lose? Doesn't seem super. Yeah, I think let's just score our points. They should take 2 white here. At which point I'll take yellows. They'll have options open for 2 red. And my main threat then will be I have to watch out for these 4 blacks. So I'll be looking for ways to make sure that they end up with the 4 blacks. Okay, and this should be how that happened. So presumably they take a red or yellow here, either finish row 1 or row 3, and then I will take the opposite thing. So I take a red, and now they're left with the black, so I don't have to worry about that. Should be good to go here. Taking white or blue is actually equivalent here. If they take, yeah. So part of the point of doing these games where I force myself into a certain objective is to have to navigate uncomfortable situations. And part of what I think happens there is increased focus on winning the negative battle, so to speak. Because when you can't efficiently build your own objective, you have to try to find ways to punish your opponent for building theirs. Now, obviously in this game I was building column 3 and like wasn't particularly tricky, but what I'm really happy to see is only 6 points lost to the floor line versus their 30. And I think that's something we saw the Azul bot optimized for, is the negatives, just forcing your opponent to take way more negatives than you, and not always building or optimizing for completing a certain objective. Okay, so let's do another one. If it lands on column 3, I'll pick another one. Okay, column 1, this game. I think the round 2 draw in that last game that had something like 8 blues in it was, yeah, kind of a backbreaker for my opponent. Just put me in a really good situation. And obviously, like, there were only 2 blues in round 1, so I had a good probability of there being a lot of blues, but certainly not like 8 or however many there were. Okay, so I am building column 1 for the randomizer. Okay, let's start with row 4 red. My opponent's gonna be like, what the heck is going on? And I should note that, like, just because I'm building column 1 doesn't mean I'm gonna like only play blacks in row 3 this round. Like, I'll take an opportunity to build row 3 blue, but I think building like the lower rows of the column that I get assigned makes sense. One thing I'm thinking about, I mean, we'll see how this plays out, but I might grab like row 2 blue. So because there's so many blues in this draw, and if I were to play row 2 white, the odds of me next round being able to get the adjacent row 2 blue isn't very high. So I think I'll try to get row 2 blue this round. And because my opponent went here, I'm actually going to take whites on 3 to disrupt their row 4. Okay, so now we'll grab those blues as discussed. I don't really, so the other thing I want obviously is these yellows. I don't really anticipate them taking them. So let's just grab the white. get that out of the way. We should be able to pick up the yellows and maybe try to throw away blacks. If I throw away blacks right now, what would they pivot to? Let's just get a lot of our objectives. We can just pick up white, red, and then whatever one makes it back to us. It is tempting to take the white just because I have a nice place for white's next round. I could very easily defend row 4, but let's stick to this. They should take white, I should get blue, and I have a decent build here. Yeah, this actually sets up really nicely for me. Having built over here, because now like my row 2 and row 3 are in direct conflict with their row 4 and 5, and I have the first player tile. So also these yellows. Do I go yellow and let the blacks? Or do I go black right away? This doesn't play out well actually, whites. If I like start with black and they take white and then I take white and then they take the last white, that groups all the reds, which I don't like. So this is gonna look funny, I think. I'm actually just gonna start with the red. Now I force them to choose between white and black. So whichever one they don't take, I will take. That's fine. I can take a black. Yeah, I think this ends up... The problem with doing this is that they take 3 yellows. I have to throw something out, and then they still get a row 2. Maybe this is kind of... Because now they have to take 2 yellow if they want to deny my progress on row 5. Maybe this wasn't so... I mean, I got better adjacency. And this way I get... Like, the way I was thinking was they would certainly have taken the 3 yellows, so now I'm going to get more progress there. Okay. So I think I'm going to let them have the red. No, I'll let them take the blue. The prevent the vertical adjacency for this. The reason to want them to take the red is because then their row 4 blue and row 2 blue are in conflict. Because if they build row 2 red, their row 2 adjacencies become blue and black. Obviously, black is in conflict with their row 5. Oh. This I'm not sure about. So my row 2 and my row 5 are in conflict. I don't get a good draw for it. They also did not get a good draw from a row 5 standpoint. It's pretty tricky. I think a weird play. Okay, so taking one blue on row 3, forcing their hand, or attempting to force their hand on this play. And where to go from here? Let's try 2 red. This puts their row 2 in a weird situation. They can take black or white or non-adjacency. I think white in the play there. Because you still have, even if you take 2 white, you still have row 3 white open. But doing this lets me create the group of 4 white. But then I can get in trouble on row 1. Okay, let's do this. This is weird. This is bad. I have definitely misplayed this round horribly. Okay, let's take 1 white. Nope, that's no good. Okay, I think it's 3 red. If they take 2 yellow, we get row 4 white. They do this. Yeah, we just some progress here. This was bad. Very bad. Down by 5. And at this point, we need to think about defending blacks, but yellow. Okay, this will be good though. So when they take the 2 black, we will take 1 black. Okay. And now we can create the group of 4 white, which is good for us. their row 1 pretty tricky. Their upper rows in general are pretty tricky. Yeah, so we take 1. They take 3 red. It's I think I'll still be behind. Yeah. And they can end the game with row 3 black. I can't play on row 1, which is not great. And I don't really... Oh boy, they're getting too ambitious here. I don't know if that's a misclick. That's certainly not good. They might still win. Just they're up by 6. And they'll score in a number of places. Doesn't seem right. Yeah, so we have to take the 1 black to prevent row 3 black. So they'll take 2 black and then we can both play the remaining. So I think they'll probably still end up ahead here. They're taking -8, but they were up by 6. And they're gonna score well. Oh, I'm gonna win by the... Oh no, I'm not gonna win. 208. Okay. Yeah, that round 3 or round 4 was disastrous for me. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, must take from factory if possible. Did I ignore yellows early in that game? Is that what got me? I thought I was set up like pretty well after round 2. Yeah, I probably should have spent a little more time on that game. The whole point of this is to spend more time thinking about things, and I don't know that I've been doing that. Okay, must take from factory if possible. Yeah, grab some blue. Oh shoot, I needed to take from a factory. Oh, this is going to be the hardest one to remember. Okay, so I've already botched it. I will try the remainder of the game to only take from factories. So take the blacks that I would have had to take from the factory, which would have given them 3 reds if they wanted, and I would have gotten the other blacks. So kind of tricky. Wow. Quite the run out. Okay, my opponent gets really defensive from factory. Okay, row 3. I have to take from a factory. Ideally, I get row 2 blue, row 3 yellow. Have the yellow as backup. 2. Okay, so let's do 1 black. Safe. Take 1 yellow. Blue. Okay, I think that's... Okay, I don't actually have to take blues. Opponent. Definitely going to try to get all these whites into the center. But first, my opponent blocked up on row 5. Okay, must take from a factory if possible. If I take a white, I can... Oh, no, no. This is tricky because I can't prevent myself from getting stuck with these. Oh, I can if I take 1 blue. Okay, we'll take 1 blue. Now I can't get stuck with these 6 yellows. Well, if this were a real game, stuck with because of the limitation, maybe there's a chance. Yes. Okay, but this is okay. Take from the factory if possible. Wow. Having to play the yellows if my opponent chooses to give them to me. They took a bunch of negatives as well, so. Okay, we're up 14-0. Okay, must take from a factory. I'm gonna grab white, I think, because there's only 3 left. Boy, this gets my row 1. Okay. 5 black left. But that's my opponent. Okay, so I no longer have to take from a factory. Two. Okay, I think let's call them out. Okay. I may not be able to end the game if they decide to take yellows. Yeah, so I cannot end the game next round. Are gonna get a. So. Gotta force their hand on blues. If they don't take 2 blue. If I take 1 blue, they can still score on both. If I take 2 blues, they can only score on one of them. So I think this is correct. They can play everything for the most part. Yeah, they're in a bit of a pickle. Not a huge one, but if they take this 1 blue, it groups the blacks. And if they don't, oh, but I have to take from a factory. They don't know that, but I have to take from a factory. Okay, so this will work out nice. We will. Let me make sure. 1 yellow. Probably better. Now I can go black 2, white 3. And score on a bunch of rows. They do that. I want them to end the game. I am winning, so I don't need to take these. They are playing this very intelligently, just in that they know they need to go to round 6, and they've set up this threat of full color black. So I could take the blue and threaten full color blue, but they have the first player tile. I can play the blues so easily. So it doesn't really make sense for me to just block myself. Do I take the yellows? Sure. Let's see what happens. And they have to throw these away because playing them is... So I'm up by 9, and we have... Their scoring would be better, but I don't think it's enough to overcome the 9-point deficit. And presumably they did the math and found that out. Okay, so we're not going to get a column or anything. A lot of blues came out. Okay, so the thing I need to watch out for is these whites getting grouped negative. I actually want to take these yellows because I don't want them scoring on row 3. And my row 2 is okay because if they take white, I can take 2 black. So the right play for them there was to take this single blue and put me in a situation where I can't dump these whites on them. Now I can dump this on them by taking a red. Also, single white matter. I don't. Well, I accidentally cheated in round 1, but I think other than that, I did not take from anybody. Oh wow, that was actually a 570 opponent. Okay. Yeah, last one. Yet I really want a color bonus one. Okay, black color bonus. These I think are going to be by far the most interesting. This is going to be tricky because obviously like in theory, my opponent could prevent me from being able to accomplish this very early in the game. Once your opponent takes 6 tiles of a given color, you can no longer complete the color bonus. Okay. This draw is pretty nuts, too. Okay, so the main thing I'm thinking is that I can't put anything on row 5 unless it is all 5 of these reds, or 5 reds, because I just can't afford to have that blocked. So let's basically build the central column with the goal of also completing the black color bone. And there should be a lot of black next round, so first player tile is maybe somewhat important. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna take the 2 blue because my opponent is setting up here. And I can play blue on the round. I'll have nice defense of this row 4 blue. I have a handful of games recently where my opponent built column 4. Thinking of making a video called Don't Build Column 4. Okay, let's try to get row 3 out of it. 5 red. Okay, so we pick up row 3 yellow, which is nice. I have to remember that I can take from factories this time around. Okay. I'd like to complete row 4 white so that I can move on to row 4 black. I also end up trying to get row 3 red since I'm not going to get blue. 2 yellow, possible. White. I'm gonna put blacks in the center. Let's just put 1 black in the center. I think putting 2 black in the center would maybe tempt them for black, which they could still obviously take, but yeah, this is the play I expect. Okay, so I'll try to force their hand here. Should set up nicely for plan to get 3 red. Also, hopefully, net me blacks. In a normal, no. Yeah, I think just about. Okay, let's grab the yellow because this is good for us either way. Blue or red. And in this coming round, obviously depending on distribution, work toward row 4 black. Oh my god. Well, this is going to make this much harder. This would be the 6 blacks that my opponent needs to prevent me from being able to complete row 5 black. So if they take these 4, it's just game over. Okay, but they don't. So I have to take them on row 4. I can't afford to waste 2 of them. Thing to watch out for here is the yellows getting grouped. I can't play them anywhere. Okay. Obviously I want the blue, but I can't. So actually taking the blue means my opponent has to take 1 white to yellows on. Isn't super natural for them. It's probably still the best play. They don't do it. I can take 3 yellows and dump 4 yellows on. They'll take the black, I won't get it. Okay, let's just close out row 1 and probably all of these. But their scoring is awful. They're scoring literally -2 is 0. So, I mean, I'm going to go -14, and my scoring is also awful, but oh, they didn't make the decision. Okay, so our scoring remains intact. I can't really play this because I need to leave this room for blacks. Okay, so they now have 2 column threats, but they both rely on blue. Very odd choice. Okay, I need to pick up blacks intelligently. There's 5 left. I basically want to get row 2 and row 5. I don't, however, want to give them this 2 blue. 6 blues remaining. Okay, let's play row. Happen. Okay. Okay, so I'm taking these 5 because I want to leave row 3 open for these whites instead of playing them on 2. Oh, well, now we play 2. Make sure our opponent takes those yellows. And we have the first player tile, which is good. This is still going to be tricky. They can block us from it, but I'm at least putting myself in a position where it's possible. Okay, let's take the red. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to play this on 3, just because if it turns out that I can't do it, I want to be able to actually score on row. opponent is, there are no more yellows, so they're in trouble. Okay, so this is a great draw for us. Putting the 2 blue in the middle is good. Okay. Let's create a group of 2 black. If they take the black, I can group the blues up. By the letter of the law here. Okay. Taking the blues is probably the better play, but we accomplished what we set out to do. That doesn't good. Sweet. Okay. That was pretty fun. Yeah, I mean, basically went exactly according to plan. Kept row 5 open in round 1. After completing row 4, immediately pivoted to, or after completing row 5, or row 4 white, pivoted to row 4 black. And yeah, we got there. So obviously, like, our opponent had opportunities to block us, but I think for the spirit of the challenge, I played in a way to optimize for accomplishing this. So cool. Yeah, hope. I'm almost like bummed that this is the last one because probably not many people are going to make it the full hour. But yeah, if you made it the full hour, thanks for watching and hope you enjoyed. See you next time.